Deputy Gilmore.
Cancórla, since the present government was re-elected for a third time just a few months ago, the government has created 3 new ministers of state, established new committees with chairs, vice-chairs, conveners, introduced legislation to facilitate a former minister to claim his pension. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's fair that people should be able to claim their pension. It would be nice, though, if it was extended to people like former Gardaí and indeed old age pensioners and not confined to ministers. And of course the government is also proposing to pay itself very substantial pay increases, making you, Taoiseach, the highest paid head of government in the world. Now, by any standards, this is feathering your own nest at a time when there are cutbacks in the health service, in childcare and in other areas of public services. And the question that I want you to address today, Taoiseach, is the public taxpayer getting value for money for all of these increases? I'm delighted to see Minister Dempsey joining us, and it gives me an opportunity of perhaps taking him now as an example. Because last week we had a report from his department from which we are told that senior officials in his department knew all about Shannon, the Secretary General of the department knew about it, the Secretary of the Government knew about it, everybody it seems knew about it except the Minister who has governmental responsibility for it. Now, even if we believe all of that, the kindest thing that we can say about Minister Dempsey is that he is not on top of his job. But even by the normal standards of incompetence in this government, the Minister's performance since last Thursday takes the biscuit. On Thursday, Minister Dempsey, you told people who have to wait months for a driving licence that they had 4 days to get the driving licence or to get off the road. On Friday, you half pulled back. On Saturday, you said you were going ahead and that the Gardaí would have to be sensible in implementing it. And then, of course, on Sunday, faced with the inevitable, you eventually climbed down on it. Now, for all of that, Minister Dempsey is going to get an extra €25,666 per annum. So I'd like to ask the Taoiseach, why is the taxpayer being asked to give Minister Dempsey an extra €25,666 per annum?
Ms. Collins, Deputy Gilmore, Taoiseach. Ms. Collins, Deputy Gilmore. Deputy Gilmore.
Cancórla, there's probably been no issue that has been raised more often at question time here and adjournment debates and so on than the length of time that it is taking young drivers to apply for and to get the driving test, and the number of people who, as a consequence, are driving around on provisional driving licences. And for the Taoiseach to suggest that somehow 430,000 could be overlooked, that it was an accident or didn't think of it or whatever, I think is proof that this government is seriously out of touch. But to come back to Minister Dempsey, who, if he were a driver rather than a minister, would be on his 3rd provisional licence at this stage with no prospect of passing the test. In his case, we look at, how bad does it have to get before the R word dawns on somebody on that side of the House? If we look across the water, think of 5 or 6 cases of cabinet ministers who had a Home Secretary who resigned because of figures that were, the wrong figures were released about prisoner releases, an Education Secretary who had to resign because the exams authority...